Hey, welcome back to another episode of Sacred Emergence. It's Michelle Wong here, and I am currently recording this in Bali, as some of you know. It has been quite a trip for the last week, and I thought I'd come in here and just share what's been happening on my side of the world, upcoming potential changes, and changes that are coming to the podcast. So, Bali's in lockdown, and it's actually put me in a state of unknown because they say the lockdown is for 2 weeks and it will be done by the 20th. But I don't think I've ever heard of a lockdown that's only 2 weeks. And the benefit of it is that it's really giving me the time to really dive into my own self, to think, to reflect, to do the inner work, which I so appreciate. And I'm in Bali, right? It's not a terrible place to be for a lockdown. And at the same time, there were things I wanted to do in Bali and explore and travel and visit. So it's kind of put things on hold, and it does cost money to renew my visa. And restrictions are getting tighter in terms of requirements. So we'll see if I end up staying here for 6 months. But it's kind of, what was interesting today was when I was reflecting on, I'm in Bali, I shouldn't complain. It's yeah, but it's not exactly what I was envisioning. And it's really easy for us to talk ourselves out of what we actually feel. And this is like a form of gaslighting ourselves, right? Based on the voices that aren't really ours, right? The voices of the external, the shoulds, or, because of this, then you shouldn't feel bad, or, you shouldn't complain because you're in a tropical place. And at the same time, it's yeah, but that's not really what my soul desires. And we get to have what our soul desires, right? And so at the same time, I'm here. It took me a long time to get here. I waited a long time. It was a lot of work to get here. So I'm going to make the best of it while I'm here. But it's given me a lot of time to just think about, what my next steps are and what feels in alignment, what feels out of alignment, and really coming back to my human design and also what I shared from my last episode as I step into my 4th decade. What for me the next level is for me to dive in deeper within myself, right? Really embody that feminine essence. And this is the next edge for me. I don't even know necessarily what that looks like or feels like per se. I just know that the way I've been doing it in the past has been pretty masculine driven. It has been, a lot of it was external. And I talk there's all these chitter chatter that isn't really my voice, but I wear it like the external conditioning. So when I was reflecting by the pool today, I was like, this isn't even my actual thought. This is conditioning from the external, when I was I shouldn't feel bad for, being locked down in Bali. And even the lockdown here, at least in the area I'm at, it's kind of loose in a way. There are some restaurants that should not be open for dining in, but they are. And I'm just how? And I don't want to risk it because I don't want to get deported. Right now, foreigners that are not following protocol related to lockdown are getting deported. And so it's just this is an interesting place to be because in Canada and the US, things are opening back up again. So I feel things kind of got flipped, right? When I was in lockdown in Seattle, it was Bali seemed pretty flowing and easygoing, and now that I'm here, it's the reverse. But anyway, so with all that said, it's given me an opportunity of really looking inwards. And I noticed that one of the parts that for me, when I'm feeling something coming up, it's easy for me to get distracted, right? I'll pull up my phone, or I will start going on social media, or I'll start watching, online streaming. I'll do things that get me distracted. And lately I've been aware of that, and I'm no, you know what I really want to do? I just want to sit with these feelings that are coming up, this discomfort, right? Of what does it mean to to be here and not know what's next necessarily. Or, if Bali wasn't in lockdown, what would I be doing instead? And it's like, I'd probably be doing the same thing, but not feel like this overarching, like pressure over my head that I should not be doing anything. I should be just sitting still and being in my room or whatever. But if things were open, I probably would have scheduled a massage. And there are massage parlors that are open, or massage places. But again, it's like, do at your own risk, right? I'd want to go to the yoga studio for a class, and it is open, but do it at your own risk. It's like all these little carrots kind of tempting me along the way. And so it's been actually really amazing to be in touch with, okay, well, if I am here and I want to follow the protocol, then what's my choice? And if I'm in this discomfort of these emotions, then I'm going to sit with it. And lately I've been called to sit with being in my emotions, really surrendering to them. And that's part of being in the feminine. All of that to say, it's been only a week since I turned 40, and it's been an interesting, fun dance so far. So that's what's been up in my world. And then I've been thinking a lot about my business and what is next for my business. And with my podcast, I've been giving my podcast a lot of thought. I don't have answers yet, but I'm feeling like I need a little break from recording weekly with my podcasts. I do have a beautiful guest that is scheduled for next week. But I'm feeling that I'm going to take August off. And I will probably do a next recording sometime in December. Not sometime in September, but in September. And so the date, just so that for those of you who are listening, and as a manifester, I want to inform you, give you a heads up, it'll probably be the end of September, the 27th, that I will launch my next episode after July ends. So I wanted to give you a heads up. And that will give me some time to, give me about 2 months to really lean into what feels good, what's my next step. Do I want to continue doing weekly episodes, or maybe create seasons, where it's like, okay, now that we're heading into, let's just say, the fall in September, how many episodes do I want to create, and what are the interviews that I really want to pack in? What's the theme? Versus right now, it's just as is, right? As it's flowing through. And I'm feeling like after 2 years of the Sacred Emergence podcast, it's time to do a little switcheroo, a little switch, a little update. So I'm sitting into what that wants to be. Or I might just stop it altogether, depending on how it feels. But I love having a podcast. It's my platform, one of my platforms. So I'm still dancing with it all, but wanted to give you a heads up. So anyway, that's the vibe so far with life in the Tropic of Bali right now, the island of Bali. And stay tuned. And if you want to know what's happening in my world, I post a lot in my stories, and I'm tapping into what's next for me in business. I think I mentioned in my last episode that I hired a beautiful mentor for 6 months and part of her mastermind. And it's all around diving into the embodiment of the feminine. And this is something that I've been talking about for so long. 2021 is the year of the goddess for me, continuation. And it's still, and I think to get through that, it's really to get within, right? Within myself and what feels good, and activating my own relationship to my own body even deeper. And this is the edge, right? Doing it in the way that feels pleasurable, and exploring what pleasure is, right? What does that mean for me? And that's going to take more time, right? More exploration with myself. And that gets to be its own journey. So, and at the same time, infusing human design. I'm going deeper with human design as well. I continued teaching. I'm continuing learning with my human design teacher. She's offering a human design and business 3-month program. And so that is something that we are diving into this week. And so far, the pre-work that we've had has been phenomenal. And it's making me realize that there's so many ways that we can show up in our business. Show up, like we get to make our chart come alive, and I know that. And it's like I get to do it my way. And part of I already know doing it my way is my energy is not meant to be this consistent, all the time energy. My energy is on off pulse, right? It's like as a manifester, I bring the initiatory fire. I bring the spark. And my spark, I know, is not always sparking because that is very draining for me energetically. So it's really about being with that pulse of the on and the off, of the expansion and the contraction. And I know that the next level for me is doing that within the realm of the feminine. And the feminine isn't always flowy and beautiful. It gets to be, well, it is beautiful, but it could be messy and dark and chaotic. And that gets to be fun as well, right? And when we're in it, it might not be fun, but like that gets to be part of the feminine experience, right? It's not always the linear, the straight line, the on. That is not of the feminine. So more to come, and thank you all for tuning in, for being on this journey with me. Next week, you'll hear a beautiful interview, all with relation to women's health. And after that, there will be one last episode for July of 2021. And then we'll take 2 months off, and then I'll come back on the last Monday of September, which is the 27th, to see what unfolds. Maybe I decide that I, take a pause, another pause, or this is what it's going to look like. And it all gets to be beautiful. So stay tuned for more. Love you all. Have a beautiful, beautiful week.